Listen, I'll be honest. When I saw the title of this film, I was like, wait, didn't I just watch this? But I was wrong, and I want to make sure you don't make that mistake because you should check this one out. But yeah, folks, we're going to jump into the review of the new film, Ambush. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing the new film, Ambush, which is coming to theaters on demand and digital February 24th. So yeah, this film is directed by Mark Burman. And yes, I just recently viewed the film called The Ambush, which is action-packed, a very solid film. And when I was like, Ambush, I was like, is this the same film? So when I saw an opportunity to check this film out, I was a little confused, but I was like, oh wait, it's an entirely different film. And not only by name is it an entirely different film, but the toning and everything. And also this one tells a very important story. That if you are a historian, somebody who appreciates history, I absolutely think, even if not, you want to watch this film, because it's one of those type of things where if you have an appreciation for documentaries, when you like going to films or whatever, and it's something you did not know about, but you gain out and you just feel so empowered because of just the knowledge you know now. I mean, this is definitely that. It's not a documentary because there's no narration and whatnot, but just the feel of what a documentary does for me is what this film did. Was just dramatized, you know. But beyond that, let's talk about the cast here. Jonathan Rhys Meyers. Hello now. Anybody from The Dark Knight or anybody from the Nolan trilogy, shall I say, of Batman. Yeah, I want to see what they're up to at all times. And then you have Connor Paolo, and you have Aaron Eckhart, who, you know, Vikings, and honestly has been quietly having a really good few years in terms of films. I've been a fan of a lot of his recent work. But yeah, you got the three of them as your leads in this, and this takes us into this intense, gritty, action-packed Vietnam War epic, as they describe it. And yeah, you know, when you talk about Vietnam, you know, it's always a sensitive subject here now, because that is considered the, you know, one of the main wars that America lost. So, you know, going and getting a glimpse into that war and learning more stories about this war that you may not have heard of is super interesting just there. But then there's also the idea that sometimes war, we always hear about these stories or these missions or these heroes that, you know, never really got the light of day. And so some of these stories are passed down through generations, and these filmmakers get together and say, I need to talk about this. And I think this is one of those stories where, you know, while we have lost that war, there was still a lot of unsung heroes, or, you know, untold stories, and folks who really risked their lives that no one would ever know about the sacrifices that they made. And granted, 58,200 people gave their lives at Vietnam, are heroes. But to understand their stories, I think it's always a very significant thing to do. And that's where we go with this one, because we have this small outpost that is ambushed by the Vietnamese. And when they ambushed them, they took a very important document or intel. And now you have soldiers that are tasked to get it back. Now that sounds very simple. However, well, the Vietnamese, they had a tactic. They had a mission strategy that they attacked from underground. That was something that we were not familiar with. You know, we done water, we did air, we did land, but underground, what does that look like? And the fact that there were soldiers that were tasked to go into these tunnels to retrieve this intel back is a suicide mission. They don't know where they're going. They think about that now. You're basically already on someone else's land, but like really navigating the secrets of their home and underground and whatnot, you don't stand a chance. But these soldiers and them risking their lives for something that was so significant for us to retrieve back, it's such a heroic story to hear. And honestly, it does make you emotional watch it, but yet you give it appreciation for the folks that, you know, that are heroes, that risk their life to do so. But while I speak so positive about all of this, there's also a negative part of this that really is just gut-wrenching. And the fact that this story kind of takes this twist at the end, and the way it does, I just was kind of just left jaw dropped. I just was like, flabbergasted here. So I don't know. So just be prepared for that. And alongside of that, you know, this film does give you a little bit of everything. There's some gore. Yeah, this film is pretty brutal. There's some comedy, you know, there's some humor, mild humor, dry humor, shall I say, and I appreciate that. And I also think with like the severity and of what's happening with everything with the war, I think some of the over the top humor just wouldn't have meshed good. So I appreciate how that kind of blended all together. And I think that while you may expect bullets to be flying left and right, which there was some action scene, it wasn't action heavy. This was definitely more story driven, more character driven, so it felt boring at times. But granted, performances were solid. You know, and I talked about Jonathan, you talk about Aaron and Connor. I think that alongside the cinematography, which really use good techniques to really get up on the folks, to really read their emotions and whatnot, to help the viewers connect with it. You know, I thought that like that was good storytelling without having to tell a story. So I appreciated that as well too. But you know, at the end of the day, the film did come off independent. You can obviously see the CGI at times that you know was noticeable, but I also thought the special effects in terms of the costume design and as special effects folks in terms of makeup and whatnot, thought they did a really good job. And especially when I was talking about the brutality and the blood and all that other stuff, I thought they did a really good job. And yeah, I keep saying it, but let me emphasize one more time, the film gets brutal at times. There's some deaths that are kind of like, oh, didn't see that coming, you know? But I think that beyond that too, I think the set location and whatnot really like gravitating or creating that war feel. They nailed that, and the jungle in Vietnam, they did a good job in that as well too. So you know, listen, this is a film that, you know, whether you're a historian or not, I think it's worth watching for the appreciation of the folks who sacrificed their lives for this country. And also too, I just think it's like a documentary. It's something you may not have heard of, something you may not even be interested of, but you will come out completely educated and yet even further intrigued about events of this war, maybe other secrets that we may not have heard about. So that I enjoyed. And the film breezed by. You know, I think it was about an hour and a half, if even that, maybe like an hour 40, but it breezed by, and it was every bit of the film was just worth watching. And then again, our leads here, you know, just from their emotions alone, and honestly, shall I say, the mystery behind some of these characters is worth watching as well too. Everyone ain't who they seems, and I'm not saying like just double agents and whatnot, because yeah, there is absolutely a ambush aspect to this, but there's also a part, as I said, a twist at this that I just didn't see coming. It was kind of just bad, and it leaves you like this one character into the film that is just kind of devastated. And yeah, yeah. But certainly check this one out. Ambush in theaters February 24th and on demand and digital. Directed by Mark Burman, so you know you're watching the right film here. Jump in the comments, let me know your thoughts about it when you do, folks. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews very soon.
Vikings.